So I'm Nancy Schertzing. I am the Director of Restorative Approaches in Education for the Center for Dispute Resolution at the University of Maryland, Francis King Carey School of Law. And that, believe it or not, does fit on a business card in really, really small print. But we call ourselves CDRUM, the Center for Dispute Resolution. And CDRUM just celebrated its 20th anniversary last year. I have been here for just a couple of years. My predecessor, who was here for most of that time, if not all that time, with CDRUM, was Barbara Groeschel. And Barbara is enjoying retirement and is certainly available to us and has been very helpful in helping me transition into this role. I want to tell you, though, that even though I've only been here in Maryland for a couple of years, I'm from Michigan, and I have spent close to a couple of decades, working in restorative approaches, or we call it restorative justice in education. And so this is kind of like a dream of mine, to be able to share and have all of these different resources in one place. So we hope that you will enjoy and that you'll take advantage of the website as Restorative Approaches in Education as much as possible. I'm going to share my screen so that we can actually start looking at the site here. What I want to share with you, especially about this particular website, is that here in Maryland, we have so many fabulous trainers, people who have done and been doing trainings for many, many years. And so we know that many of you know restorative approaches. But what our focus is for the website is to really help you integrate it more into your practice, if you will. It's less about doing restorative and more about being restorative in the work that we do. And so the focus of a lot of the materials that you will see will be more about helping you integrate it and giving you examples of how it's integrated into cultures, school cultures especially, and how maybe you'll see how it has affected people's lives in some powerful ways. This particular picture that you see here, which is the cover picture, is from a school that we have worked with in the previous last year. And the photo, I want to give credit here at the law school. Want to be very careful about making sure that we're giving credit where it's due. This photo is taken by the fabulous University of Maryland, Baltimore photographer, Matthew D'Agostino. We call him Dag. And Dag did this one. He did a few others of the photos, but the other ones that you'll see are mostly from me. And actually, probably you'll be able to tell the difference, but we don't need to go into that right now. I want you to also make sure that as you are going through this, if you are finding pieces or if you come across articles or resources that you find really useful, we would love to have you email those to us, because this is definitely a work in progress. And so as we go through all of the different categories and how we give you a sense of how we've organized this, if you want to send me a link, if you send me a little description about an article, for example, that's available for free openly on the website, please add to this and help us build our body of work here. What I will start with, this is still the cover page, you'll see that we have each of the different individual pages here on the left margin, but we also have each of those different pages represented in individual boxes here. So you can access them either way. We're going to start with training and services for today's session, because under the training and services section, we have a number of free resources that I want you to be familiar with. And for those of you who are RA points of contact working with the Maryland State Department of Education, you'll see that many of these are PowerPoints that I presented during some of our trainings that we did together. These particular PowerPoints are just designed to be short lessons that you can share with people in your schools, and if you are interested in sharing them, or like different aspects of restorative approaches. These are in PowerPoint format, so you can add to them, you can use them as the base, you can combine them if you'd like. It's all there free for you to use. I will show you just very briefly. I have to stop my screen or stop sharing and then move to another screen so that I can show you what it looks like. But this is one example of a webinar that we did in August of 2022. And it is very simply about relationships. This is a video that I love that's available on Edutopia. I won't take time to show it to you right now, but it is active. I tested it before we came into today's training. You have to just enable the video and the media when you download it. These are highlights from the training. We know that relationships are central to the learning process. And it includes some data that I found to be sobering and very, very helpful, I think, in helping people understand the value of creating relationships when we are working with our young people. So this ends with a quote from the video and then kind of a call to action. How do we use this knowledge? So this is very simple. It doesn't have to take very long, but it is available to you here under the free resources page of the website. I'll go back to the web page again. One other thing that I want to draw your attention to here in the mini trainings under the free resources, as part of the initiative that we had with the MSDE, we contracted with some restorative experts who helped us develop mini trainings in response to some questions that we were receiving about how can we as restorative experts help some of our teachers relate to their students who are not of the same ethnic background as them. We know that disproportionate discipline plagues schools across the United States. We definitely have some of that here in Maryland. These resources are designed to be able to help you share with some of those teachers that you want maybe to help them a little bit in breaking through. You'll see that each of them has a video, and then there are handouts or supporting information that you can download. Let's see if I'll just take a look at this. I don't know if you are able to see the compass of shame. It looks as though that's a separate thing that you're not able to see. But anyway, explore some of that. Dr. Malik Muhammad of Akaben and Chella Drew of Restorative Resolutions, they're outstanding restorative approaches educators, or they're restorative approaches trainers. And I think that you'll find those resources to be quite helpful. We're speaking about the trainings that you're able to fit into short bursts, things like staff meetings, or perhaps you're been asked to provide something for a school-based PD. We have a training that we've developed that I really want to recommend to you. I hope that you will consider. It's called Restorative Approaches in You, the Restorative Paradigm. It's actually a hybrid training which introduces educators to the circle process, to the basics of the restorative philosophy. There's about 30 minutes of recorded presentation. And then there's also a leader guide, and there are handouts that you can use to take your colleagues through an actual circle as part of the training. The 30 minutes of pre-recorded content stretches with the circle into about an hour. It's designed to fit in about an hour, depending on how big your circle is. So that is a training that we have available right now that is, it's only $350. It gives schools a full 30 days to be able to use unlimited access. So it could be a really nice way for you to introduce your teams to restorative approaches without having to have somebody come in, without having to actually schedule a whole lot of time and prepare a training. So I want to have you think about that, or just know that that's available. You can order it just by clicking on the website or on the title there. We are working on another. This will be a whole series of short 1-hour PDs that you'll be able to deliver in a hybrid format on your own schedule, on your own time. The other thing I want to draw your attention to is that, of course, CDRM offers live trainings, and that I think many of you are familiar with that. But if you're interested in learning more, just take a look at those. Scroll down on this website under the fee-based trainings, and you can see what we can do. And we are always happy to work with you if you're interested in having a more in-depth training on site. Okay, that's it. That's the end of the fee-based things. What we're going to look at now are the different restorative approaches, resources that are available to you for free here on the site. And I want to let you know that this is organized in such a way that we were trying to answer your questions. We want you to be able to come to this website when you need some resources or something. And so this is my attempt to help us kind of get a sense of what's here. If you are interested in just beginning your journey, what are restorative approaches? If you click on this heading, you'll see that there are a series of books. We've got a number of books that we recommend that have been very useful for me and my colleagues. There are quick video intros that are just introducing the concept of restorative approaches or restorative practices or restorative justice. You'll hear those terms interchangeably in a lot of these different videos. We also have introductory articles. These are articles that are not scholarly, but they're pieces that I think give you a pretty good introduction to what restorative approaches are. And then we also have some links to guides, which are out there, which are, some of them are phenomenal. And I want to show you this one. Restorative Practices Ontario put together a manual that is 255 pages long. It looks like this. I don't know if you all have seen this or not, but it is chock full of fabulous resources. And one thing that I love about this is that if you scroll down to the table of contents, it will take you right to whatever spot you're interested in going to in this. So you don't have to scroll through 255 pages to find what you want. So that is there available to you for free. I encourage you to take a look at that under toolkits and useful guides. One thing that I have found, and even though we try very hard to keep up with our website as much as possible, there have been a couple of times that I have clicked on one of these live links and the link is no longer active. So even though these links are all meant to be live, if you find that one is not, just highlight it, copy it, and pull it up in your browser, and you should be able to access the resources. You'll see that we have, so in addition to these like guides, we also have webinars that my colleague Barbara has developed or had developed previously. So if you are interested in learning like more in depth, feel free to click on one of those. Second question, why use restorative approaches? Again, we have a variety of different resources to answer that question for you. I want to just put in a shameless plug for CDRM, because one of the things that we are very proud of is Barbara Groeschel, who was in this position before me, was very instrumental in leading the effort to make sure that restorative approaches were built into the school code and into education here in Maryland as part of the School to Prison Pipeline Commission that she chaired. So if you're interested in any of those historical documents, you'll find those there. There just are all kinds of things. Another shameless plug that I want to put in here is that with here in Maryland, we have our amazing Robin McNair, who is restorative. I don't know her whole title, but she's the restorative guru in Prince George's County. And Robin developed some podcasts for us when we were as part of this MSDE project about her restorative journey. And then she also interviewed some other people. You'll see a Kathy Rockefeller in there, who is one of her guests. And they talk about becoming restorative, both in their work and in their life. And I think you might find that also to be something that would be really lovely to spend a little bit of time with. I think the longest one is 30 minutes, so it's not a long time commitment, but there's some really good, I think some very rich material that you can find there. Teacher tips: when we come across a blog or something that is developed right by teachers, we will include that, and oftentimes those have links to the resources that they've used. We also end this with, excuse me, 2 books by Ben Michelson, one called Touching Spirit Bear and the other Ghost of Spirit Bear. Those are books that they're written at about a 7th grade level. If you are looking for restorative, like young adult fiction, the Touching Spirit Bear is phenomenal. It's a great adventure story. It's a great, very accessible restorative story. So I highly recommend that. And what you'll find with each of these is if we recommend a book, we take you right to a place where you can buy it, so that you should be able to seamlessly pick that up without, obviously you have to pay for it, but we want it to be, this to be a very accessible website for you. Okay, so that is the first section, perspectives on restorative approaches in education. Then we go into tools for using restorative approaches. And we've got community building circles. Many of you will be very familiar with Kay Pranis. She is somebody who is just such a phenomenal teacher and leader of the circle process movement. Many of these resources come from her. You'll find also San Francisco and Oakland, California have wonderful, very robust practices. CDRM has included some of the worksheets that we have developed over the years here. So get familiar with these resources if you're interested in learning a little bit more, or maybe you just want to freshen up your practice a little bit. That there's information here that should be useful to you. Affective statements and questions, I'll be honest with you, this is the only thing I have. I've fallen down on the job when it comes to this. So if you have articles or great resources on affective statements and questions, please send it to me. I would love to be able to beef that section up a little bit more. Restorative circles, we've got books, we've got videos, we've got worksheets. I don't have them all evenly divided up as I did as cleanly in the previous pages, but there are a variety of resources available there. The other thing I want to draw your attention to is that we had a grant last year to develop lessons for introducing restorative approaches to high school students. And what this section is, and I will link this to the free resources because it also is something that's available to you for free. I developed a lesson plan for each one of these sessions, and they are, you'll see here, like the materials, the takeaways, all of the deeper learning if you want to extend the learning. They're designed for a teacher to be able to run in maybe like a homeroom or a study hall time that shouldn't take a really long time to run. And then they are also accompanied, and I won't take the time to show you, but each of these, the slides is a PowerPoint that supports and lays out the lesson so that you can use that, or teachers can use that, or even if you've got student groups that are interested in learning restorative approaches, they could take themselves through these trainings. And of course, always with all of these, I want you to make sure that you are reviewing the material to make sure it's appropriate for you. But this is a set of 10 lesson plans that build on each other. So they're designed to be delivered to the same group of students over a period of time so that they are learning first how to use a talking piece and then how to develop guidelines. And then we go all the way to testing. The last one is testing what you know about restorative approaches and, and how to use it. Apologies for my hoarse voice here. So that is the tools for using restorative approaches. We have another section, equitable and inclusive restorative approaches, which is, I hope will be a wonderful resource for you. I started this one with examples from across the US, and you'll see here that I have grouped some of the resources by, if not geographic area, but by their groupings, because in the restorative practices field or the restorative justice field, there are different kind of groups of practice, if you will, or schools of practice that highlight different things and value or center different aspects of the restorative experience in their work. Oakland, California is very, they've done some amazing work around equity and inclusion. Holyoke, Massachusetts, New York, and Denver, Colorado. These are all examples of communities that have, I think, some very robust work that is worth learning from. Also have some resources here on Indigenous practices, which is, in my learning, is really the soul of the restorative practices, the restorative approaches that I try to follow. And so these are resources that that you may find also useful in. I think it's always great to be able to learn from other people who are using in these different practices. Here in Maryland, we have, this is a website or a webinar that Barbara did with Dr. Malik Muhammad. Might also be useful to you. So those are examples from other communities. This is the situation that we are working with, or I should say trying to heal. And these are resources that really talk about the devastating impact that suspension and expulsion can have on young lives, and the issues, like we've got the new Jim Crow book here is obviously a more widespread issue than just suspensions and expulsions, but it is, I think, very valuable. It has been valuable for me in my journey to be able to read more and learn more, because we don't necessarily always have a full picture when we're just starting to understand the magnitude of the situation that we're trying to heal. So these are great resources. Restorative approaches as change agent. I actually attended a webinar last May that I thought was phenomenal, and I thought that would be something I was able to share the recording with you. encourage you to look at that if you're interested. And we've already looked at the mini lessons that Dr. Malik Muhammad and Chella Drew developed for us. So that segment on equitable and inclusive restorative approaches may be worth digging into a little bit deeper when you have a chance. I encourage you to do that. These last two segments, I will admit, are not nearly as fully developed, and I apologize for that. CEDRA last summer, we developed a restorative peer mediation model. And we have actually been working with a number of school systems around the state to train their coordinators to get those restorative peer mediations up and going. This is a photo of these beautiful people that I took at one of the events that CEDRA hosted. These are lovely peer mediators and their advisors in the background. And we all just want to be able to support if peer mediation is something that you're interested in. We feel that restorative peer mediation could be another level of supporting, like integrating restorative into your schools. So if you're interested in learning more about the training, feel free to reach out to me. What we have here are like more general standards of practice. We've got articles and research on the different aspects of peer mediation. Some of these, I want to be very clear, some of these are not restorative specifically. They follow the traditional peer mediation model. So please know that not all of these will be restorative peer mediation. One that is a restorative peer mediation model is the Oakland Unified School District. I'll click on this real quickly because they have made their program guide completely available to anybody who's interested. And if you click on this, you will find just a wealth of information about how they run their restorative peer mediation programs. So know that that is a resource that's there available to you, again, under the examples from different school systems. The training, I don't think I have anything in the training section. That is obviously something that I've been busy doing the trainings, but we can absolutely add to that. And then program management is also something that we address in our trainings, but it's not something that I have here on the website. So I do hope that you will get familiar with this if you're interested. I do want to draw one more attention to this. Here's a summary. We have periodically, we will have law students who are available to do like literature reviews for us. This is our latest. Negin Giev is our student who did this literature review on peer mediation and the effects of peer mediation. There's a whole just wealth of studies that you can look at there. If you are interested in doing a little bit deeper dive, please feel free to click on that. And thank you to Negin. Okay, the last one is the last page here. Restorative approaches align with educational initiatives. This one I've really fallen down on the job here because all I have are two educational initiatives that are that I know that restorative blends with. One of them is trauma-informed healing, and I'm not sure that we always give restorative approaches their due in how beautifully they mesh with or really are trauma-informed approaches that are so important in working with students that we have in our schools. So there's a combination of articles and books and videos there. Also, juvenile justice, I have not developed this more robustly because I really want this website focused to be on restorative approaches in education rather than focusing on juvenile justice. But there is a wealth of information out there that about how restorative justice is being used in the juvenile justice system. And if you are interested in exploring that, or if you come across some really good material, please feel free to reach out and send me some links. I'd appreciate it. Just so you know, one of the sections I'll be expanding to this section to include is how restorative approaches and MTSS or PBIS work together. There's quite a lot of, I think, pretty rich material that's out there, and including some material that I know some of our restorative experts in our schools have developed. And so we'll try to give you some more robust information about that. One of the other initiatives that CDRUM does is that we work with the Levitas Foundation to introduce and use restorative circle and a lot of the restorative philosophy to help middle school students be able to recognize and avoid sexual violence, things that we take for granted, such as homophobic slurs, for example, which sometimes happen in middle school, or setting our personal boundaries and understanding what consent is. These are things that we address in working with middle school students through the Levitas program. And I would like to also include some of that material here on the website as well. So that is, I'm going to stop sharing screen so that I can see all of you, but I believe we've gone through each of these different pages. I hope that you have seen that we have a lot of material there and that you understand this is just a work in progress. We absolutely want to continue to expand and always with the goal of making it better. But as I said, this is 20 years of a passion for restorative approaches that, and just such a privilege for me to be able to make these available to you. And so I hope that you will use it as often, come back as often as you like. It's here whenever you need it, and we will continue to add materials to it. And if you are interested in having CDRUM, if you want to learn more about that hybrid training, or if you're interested in having CDRUM do a training for you, please reach out to me. We love that. This is what I love, is to be able to come into your schools and really help develop this and help you expand your restorative practice so that you really are integrating it in so many ways into the way you do business in your schools.